Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? It's Friday. Someone in the comments just realising it's Friday. Enjoy yourselves at the weekend. Lovely bit of sunshine. Hopefully. And Mbeumo, here we go. Kind of a little bit bored of waiting here. Edging. Getting closer. Anyway, we're going to run through the reports from Alex Crook from TalkSport that the medical is being booked next week. Why are we talking about the medical being booked when the deal isn't even done yet? I'm not quite sure, but let's have a conversation about it. We'll also speak about Sancho, who I'm going to stand by. We had the sort of conversations in the comments yesterday that he is the worst signing post-Fergie. We had a little bit of a rant yesterday. We can mention it briefly. I want to speak about Tom Heaton signing a contract that's literally come out about 10 seconds ago. We'll also speak about Andre Onana. Nothing really to talk about. Gyökeres. And of course, it's Friday, so we'll get the map out. And I want to start today's show by saying, after a long, long time waiting, I'm excited for this, right? The P.O. box is finally open. I tried to open this like 3-4 weeks ago. If you don't know what the P.O. box is and why I'm excited about it, this bit here in the studio, that whole way along is all corkboard. And that's going to be the community wall. So basically, you can send in stuff that I can pin on that corkboard there. Or if you want to send anything else in, I can probably put it on the 2 shelves that we've got here as well. It's going to be my way of hopefully making something really, really unique. The United People's TV community wall and shelves. So the PO box is open. Send some stuff in. It can be, I don't know, it can be something from the country you live in. It can be, I've got a couple of tickets here I'm going to put up next week to get it started. That's my one from Anfield, and that's a random one from Birmingham in 2011. I might even put this bucket hat. Do you reckon you can fit this on the wall? Little cheeky bucket hat? Don't know. We'll see. But the address is there, and I'll leave it. The only place you'll ever find that address is in these live shows, all right? Cool. Let's get on with today's show. As always, please do get involved in the chat. I'll try and involve as many of you as I possibly can, right? Let's have a look. Good morning to Ant. How you doing there? Carl, you're there. Ian, you're there as well. I did see the Ruud news. I'll speak about that very shortly. Julian, good morning to you. We've got Hydro Ricky. We've got Kelly. We've got Saeed. Who's some non-members as well. We've got Elvis. We've got Dushan. We've got Siraj. We've got Joshua. Good morning to everyone. Please get involved. And if you can throughout the show, drop a like on the video. But yeah, I can see the news that has just happened. This happened about, 10 minutes ago? Ruud van Nistelrooy has been sacked by Leicester, which is inevitable. I don't even really think this is just Captain Hindsight speaking. But taking that job, was it Steve Cooper who left before him? I can't remember. I think it might have been. Was it? I'm not sure. But it was about the fact that Leicester didn't have any money and went into the January transfer window? It was, because obviously Ruud was manager for 4 games. Look, no matter what happened at Leicester, Ruud as an interim manager absolutely nailed it. How many games was Giggs in for? Was it just the last game? I can't actually remember. And Carrick was in for, if I remember correctly, 3 games. Villarreal, Chelsea. Was it Arsenal? Might have been those. And I think he was undefeated as well. But anyway, it's a shame for Ruud. I imagine he will probably manage outside of England after this. But a big old learning curve and learning experience, wasn't it? I can't remember how many it was for Giggs. I really don't. All I know is that he was at the game where he gave like Josh Harrop his debut. Might have been James Wilson as well. James Wilson, don't mention that name. People saying that Giggs was also 3 or 4 games. I can't remember the Giggs one. That's a long old time ago, man. Imagine that in a pub quiz. How many games was Ryan Giggs manager of Manchester United for? I don't think that would have happened. I don't think I would have got that. Anyway, commiserations to Ruud, I suppose. But absolutely inevitable after Leicester got sacked. Now, in other massive breaking news, Bombshell. Someone's saying Josh Harrop was under Jose. Oh, fair enough. Tom Heaton signed a contract. A new 1-year extension. I'd say congratulations to Tom Heaton. He's effectively Manchester United's Scott Carson. I honestly think Scott Carson may have had the greatest job in the world. Third choice goalkeeper at City at a time where they were winning all the pots. Never having to play. Just getting to train, use the facilities, pick up a pretty decent wage package and just chill. Although I suppose if you're a professional footballer, you want to play football. I'm pretty sure that he would have been happy just sitting on the sidelines. Anyway, Tom Heaton. I don't think I've ever really heard anybody speak badly of Tom Heaton in terms of him being a negative influence, in terms of him having huge wages or having the wrong attitude. I actually think Tom Heaton was sort of promoted to be one of the leaders of the dressing room. Jonathan, I think it's exactly that. I think he's considered a top professional. And I think in terms of a third choice goalkeeper, that's pretty good. Probably don't be surprised next season to see Tom Heaton follow the same path that Johnny Evans has. Johnny Evans is coming to United now to work. I believe he's going to be our loans manager, and he's going to work with those players in the academy who are maybe breaking through and need somebody to speak to them and somebody to advise them. Dr. Tosh talking about keepers that we're linked with. I'll speak about Onana and a keeper that we're getting linked with as a replacement a little bit later in the show. I'd say all the stories still around Onana and an exit and a new goalkeeper are all very unreliable so far. There's not been any concrete links. The only thing concrete that we've seen was from The Athletic saying that Andre Onana's representatives met the club and that he intends to stay. That's it. Scott Carson just gets paid to train. Lucky guy. Well, he's nailed that. Anyway, Tom Heaton staying for a year. Not offended by it, but I want Onana and Bayindir to both be sold and replaced. Let's see if the club can do it. I don't know whether they can. I saw this yesterday and I thought this was quite funny, right? Nico Williams. I suppose the reason that this has any relation to United is because of Nico Williams and Barcelona and the left wing and Marcus Rashford. And the suggestion is that Marcus Rashford and Barcelona is still a story that will continue potentially, regardless of what goes on with Nico Williams, because Rashford wants to play striker. But anyway, I saw this and it just made me laugh. Athletic Club have confirmed that they're going to meet La Liga to express concern over Barca's ability to register new players. Barca's finance is better now. Anybody know? Remember that summer where we had to try and understand what they were doing? And they were selling off 20% of all future TV revenues. I think they were selling off the in-house media company. They were selling off, is it percentage of their museum or something like that? I don't know. They were flogging parts of the club and future revenues of the club to try and sustain the bottom line that they had in that time. In terms of creative accounting, Barcelona are the absolute kings. They must be run like a mob behind the scenes. Financial lever number 20, probably. Either way, I found that quite funny. I mean, I don't think it's... When it comes to... Does anyone remember this? I swear it was Ander Herrera. When United signed Ander Herrera, he had a release clause as well. But when it comes to release clauses in La Liga, it's really, really weird. You have to pay it in full. Is it direct to the league itself? And that was at the time where there's a famous photo. I was trying to find it before the live show today. I couldn't find it. Where random people turned up. And I think it was Herrera. And everyone was all the newspapers were we have no idea who these people are. Just random blokes turned up with briefcases. Thinking the release clause is in the briefcase. I think it was Herrera. If it wasn't Herrera, who else was it? Either way, just a little random story there. City are the kings of financial fiddles. I don't particularly think that City have been wouldn't say they're financially fiddled in the same way that the Barca have. City have just done it in plain sight and go, what are you going to do about it? They've been far more open, I think. Well, maybe not. Don't quite know. That's it. The buyout clause in Spain, the player has to pay it. So what's it? So you have to like give the money to the player, and then the player goes. Odd. It's a bit weird. I think it was Herrera. Quite a few of you are saying it in the comments. A couple of separate bits of transfer news. I think this could be an interesting one for Arsenal. Christian Mosquera. I've seen quite a few people suggesting that he would be a good signing for United in terms of the wide centre-back areas. That is going to be, actually not just in the wide centre-back areas, but just in the centre-back areas. I think is something that United are going to look at next summer. I just think this is an opportunity that Arsenal are taking advantage of this summer. United aren't in a position to compete because we have priorities elsewhere. I think we're sound with our centre-back options for next season. There are bigger priorities, man. Alan, good morning to you, dude. Nice to see you there. Manda saying Chelsea and Barca are the financial creativity kings, almost like selling your women's club to yourself for 200 mil profit. Have you seen it, by the way, that Villa are going to try and do the same? Loopholes, man. Loopholes. That's what the Premier League is all about now. Loopholes. How can we get away? And I suppose it happens everywhere, all the time. If there's a rule, how can you get around it? I'll be honest, I did that plenty of times in my lifetime. But it's just frustrating. It's just become part and parcel of being a Premier League club now. Gungshi, my man, how are you doing, sir? Lovely to see you. Thank you for gifting 10 down here. And yeah, just... I think I'm just... I love this community, man. I love what has been built over such a long period of time. Organically, it has just grown and grown and grown and stayed completely true to itself the whole way through without really compromising just in order to gain an extra level here. I think that's the best part of it. I think that's probably why I'm so proud of it. I'm so proud of it, I put my name on it. And I actually did put my name on it, so George Foreman, I can use that. So yeah, make sure you get involved in a PO box there, because I really, really want... There are 3 walls here. 1, 2, 3. I want to fill it all up with stuff that you send in. It's going to be awesome. Right, and this is a sort of good luck to Axel Tuanzebe. Back in the Premier League, this time with Burnley. Is Scott Parker still their manager? I think Scott Parker's still their manager. Last season, I think they're going to be losing James Trafford to Newcastle, so that's their goalkeeper, so that's going to be a problem. But next season, it's going to be stinky, stinky, stinky playing Burnley. If United go to Burnley this season and we concede in the first 15 minutes, expect an awful game of football. Awful game of football. Ugh. Anyway, last bit of news, but there's quite a lot of news to sort of like cover here. Now, last 2 things before. This has come out yesterday. Spurs are suing Ineos. They're not actually suing Jim Ratcliffe himself, but it makes for a better headline. Spurs are suing Ineos. The reason they're suing Ineos is because Ineos Grenadiers sponsored the dugout seats. I don't know whether they sponsored anything else at Spurs, but anyway, Ineos pulled out of that contract. It's like last year, it was a clear strategy for Ineos to sort of rein in spending elsewhere. What's it called? America's Cup, the sailing one. They pulled out of that. I think Ben Ainsley might be suing them as well for that. They pulled away from this one. I'm not sure what's going on with the Mercedes investment, but I imagine that's staying the same. Well, they might have pulled that back a bit. Anyway, Spurs are going to try and sue him for 11 mil. Well, not him, but Ineos. Oh, New Zealand. There's another one. It was the All Blacks. Yeah, I knew there was another one. Rex saying almost 2 years a member. That's awesome, man. Someone down there as well saying 31 months. Lyndon, you're saying you need the gong back. Just remember the gong for the good times, man. The gong's up there. We've elevated. We've gone upwards, but the gong will always be on screen. And then sometimes, occasionally, might pop out. Right, let's get into the show then. Yeah, I think it was the All Blacks. The video yesterday was kind of an extension of what I spoke about at the beginning of yesterday's live show. I was like, would United fans be happy enough with some form of a stopgap midfield signing if it meant getting the marquee signing next summer? And I floated the idea of Douglas Luiz. Douglas Luiz was on the bench yesterday for Juve. Has anybody watched a bloody minute of the Club World Cup? On my life, I'm not saying this for exaggeration purposes or hyperbole. I haven't watched a minute. I've been so disconnected from watching football, and it's been lovely. I just couldn't have the energy to watch it. I suppose it's because after the season that we have had, I was particularly disconnected with football. But I haven't watched anything. And I'm not even... Will I watch the final? I might watch the final. See what goes on. 70-odd million, by the way, for the bloody winners. Zach saying just watch Sundown games. Are they the South African ones? I've seen plenty of clips. The only thing I've been watching are the clips of James on the press show on The Zone. Big up, James. At some point, and it'll be so cool to see, he's going to be presenting on Match of the Day or involved in like Euros coverage on ITV or BBC or World Cup coverage. That's going to be sick. For him anyway. And you've been here for 37 months. Jeez, it does feel like longer than that, man. Some of the faces here, and Josh and T and Gungshi and lots of different faces have been here for a long, long time. I can't wait for everybody to meet up. I really, really can't, man. Manda's saying the Sundowns played the best football in the Club World Cup. But it's just, I haven't watched anything, man. I haven't watched anything. It's exactly what it was going to be. A post-season exhibition competition. No one really cares about it. Dean, you're asking who's going to be presenting. I'm speaking about James Alcott. Used to work with him. Class guy. Went to his wedding. Really, really, really genuinely lovely human. And as I said, that bottle of champagne up there is one that he sent. That one there is one that he sent after we reached 500k. And he didn't need to. Right, let's get into... Look, there isn't much for me to speak about when it comes to Mbeumo today, other than this. And this is from Alex Crook. Now, typically, I wouldn't bring up Alex Crook or Ben Jacobs really as a sort of a top-line conversation point. I just don't consider them reliable enough. However, what I would say is Alex and Jay and Ben have been pretty hot on the Mbeumo news. I think they've been early twice ahead of the announcements. I don't know whether it was for the first bid, certainly for the second bid. But Alex Crook is saying that his medical is expected to take place next week. Right? So, I'm sitting there going, Leo's giving me champagne storing techniques. Dude, you make it sound like that's going to be there for long. That's gone in like a month's time. It's just going to be the box. Don't worry about that. Anyway, we're speaking about the Mbeumo medical. It's like, ladies and gents, can we just get, I don't know, we just get the deal done first? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Mo, you're asking why the deal is dragging on for ages. And it's simply down to the particulars. It's down to how much United paying up front, how much you doing in add-ons, how much of these are easy add-ons, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes a deal is very simple. Cunha, release clause, signed. Christian Norgard, and Brentford, and Arsenal, seemed like that kind of happened within like a 24-hour period. With this Mbeumo situation, Brentford aren't in a position where they are forced to sell, so they are trying to get the absolute... They're squeezing this deal. And United, at the exact same time, are trying to pay as little cash as possible. So you kind of... There's two clubs, with kind of different motives going into this negotiation. That's why it's taking longer. And people are asking whether or not it's being drawn out for the 1st of July. Again, it may well be, but I don't actually have the full... Only United have access to that, obviously. the accounts for next year and whether or not it's more beneficial for Mbeumo and the deal to happen before the 1st of July, so it goes on this year's accounts, or on the next one. We don't quite know. Akash saying no need for a long drawn-out saga. I don't think United have intended it to be that case. And I do think that there must have been some sort of delays over Thomas Frank and finding his replacement, etc., etc. But this will get done. I've been thinking. I've thought that I've been confident that the Mbeumo deal is going to get done for quite a while now. It's not Captain Hindsight saying that because the second bid's gone in. Like, the whole way through, Spurs being apparently linked, I was like, really? Don't know. Alex, how you doing, buddy? Nice to see you. The community's awesome. Keep up the great work. Definitely need some UPTV meetups. Yeah, they are going to happen. If I can tell you honestly about the time frame on that, I need to find that head of community. It's really quite a difficult person to bring in. Somebody who sort of has experience working with communities of our size, who has experience in organising and helping with sort of meetups, like fans in, I don't know, Manchester meeting up for an away game, or fans in New York or LA or San Fran or Malaysia or, I don't know, Nigeria, anywhere, all around the world. Organising meetups in all these locations, it's not going to be easy. But it's so going to be worth it, man. I think that's going to be the most fun. And that's probably when I can actually start doing a bit of travelling again. I can go travel around and meet up with different fan groups from the United People's TV community. It's going to be good, man. Ant saying, only ever a formality when the player wants you. I think that's probably helped in sort of calming any frustration towards the Mbeumo situation. For a long time, we've all felt, yeah, man, it's going to get done, isn't it? It's going to get done. And I've already explained to you, I think it was yesterday, I was saying about the next United People's production video that we have already in the background and ready to go, is one about how United are signing Premier League players, and that's a clear shift in strategy and also sort of a nod back to what Fergie did that was great in signing Premier League proven players and the impact that can have. You know what I think part of this is? Right, we go back to here, we've got a picture of Amorim, right? Amorim, quite a few times in his first season, Amorim spoke about how, because he's like, look, I'm not going to speak about giving me time and patience and what we could be in X months down the line. He goes, I know that if you don't get the results in the short term, I don't get the long term. And I kind of think that's what these two signings hint towards. Obviously, there's a strategy which we're going to speak. There's a video getting prepared at the moment on the changes to the scouting system, on the way that United are signing players, on the new data system that's coming in, or data team that's coming in. But Cunha and Mbeumo are immediate Premier League goals. They're going to make the short term significantly more stable, which allows you to focus on the long term. And we know what the long term is. It's Project 150 and winning the title. Is that long term? I mean, I think 3 years is a pretty long term plan. Good times are coming. That's what you said. I hope so. But it feels like that's why the United have prioritised Premier League quality. Because in the short term, it's just going to give United a big old jump up. Quite a few of you in the comments here talking about Ruud. We already chatted about Ruud at the start of the show. Kind of surprised that it took until the 27th of June to sack him. They got relegated. Why didn't it just happen straight away? Don't quite know. But it's a shame for Ruud, but it was expected. And a lot of you are also talking about this lad. Sort of had arguments in the comments yesterday. I mean, the majority of you agree with me. I'll happily argue with anyone that wants to tell me there's a worse signing that we've made post-Fergie than Sancho. And it's taken me a long time to think that Alexis Sanchez is not, because it's always been Alexis Sanchez for me. And I still think there are some arguments and justifications that you can go about the sort of the ripple effect. If you want to go about root cause analysis and you want to talk about inflated contracts and sort of mercenaries, Sancho isn't a mercenary. But he's just somebody who's just got priorities in unbelievably the wrong place, man. Like, the reports come out yesterday from Fabrizio that both Juve and Napoli consider Sancho's wage demands too high. Both teams would be willing to pay 25 mil, but neither of them wants to pay his wages. There's an obvious solution to this, which is probably going to have to be the compromise that United do. But it's just going to piss me off that we've got to do it. Because he won't. Like, I've spoken about this so many times until I'm blue in the face about like just the utter... I don't even know if it's lack of awareness. He's aware how crap he's been. Has to be. I mean, he might not be. Like, he might be so sort of narcissistic that he can't sort of see his own faults, which is a big problem that certain people have. But the solution, I think, is going to be if Napoli and Juve are willing to pay 25 million, but they're not willing to pay Sancho's wages, then I think United will probably accept 20 million and then move him on, because that difference in the transfer fee should subsidise the wages. I imagine that's the conclusion here, because the conclusion is it cannot be that United sort of sit firm and wait for somebody to pay his wages, because I'm telling you, if a Saudi club came in for Sancho, he'd reject that too, because he doesn't want to move to a Saudi club. And remember that we got 5 mil from Chelsea already for Sancho. So 20 mil from Juve or Napoli plus the 5 mil, then it's kind of done. It's 25 mil. This is what it's going to have to be. Like, this is what I mean about, there are going to be compromises this summer. Akash saying, Sam, hasn't Sancho made it clear he's not taking a wage cut? I mean, that's the exact point I'm making here. It's the exact point I'm making. He won't take a wage cut. So I don't even know what the wage structure is at Napoli and Juve, but Napoli pay big money for Osimhen, so I think there's scope and there's room for somebody, presumably. I mean, he's on... What's he even on at United? Is it 250? Somewhere around 250? Don't quite know. I don't want United... Look, technically that is subsidising his wages by accepting a 5 mil less fee. But like, lads, we've got to get rid of him, man. Like, we've got to get him the hell away from our club. It's just not... The poisonous attitude that he has, it has to be got rid of. Sorry. It feels like that's probably the only way we're going to do it. I'm going to see what you're saying down here in the chat. Someone's saying they're probably only going to be willing to pay 150. I don't know exactly, if I'm being totally honest. But let's say, just for ease of numbers, he's on 300 grand a week at United, including all the image rights that someone mentioning down there. And Napoli would be willing to pay him 150. So that's a difference of 150 a week. That's 600 a month. So 5 mil isn't even a year. Damn, son. I don't know. Just get him out of my club, man. Get him out. And Philo, and it's very easy for us to say this, like, take the hit on the transfer fee. You remember when Jim Ratcliffe did that interview with Gary Neville, and he said, even if United don't sign a player this summer, we've got to write a cheque for £89 million. And I'm pretty sure he name-checked Jadon Sancho as one of the players that United are still paying out for. So that amortised deal we haven't completed yet. I know Andre Onana's one. I know that Rasmus Højlund's one. And I think Sancho was one that he named. So there's going to be like a minimum requirement for United to get for that to not end up being an extra loss on the books. because the losses will be realised once you sell the player. Presumably. Again, I'm not an accountant. I'm kind of semi-presuming in that one. Either way, it just feels like we're going to have to take a lower fee in order to make it a more attractive deal for anybody to take on Sancho and take on his wages. Manley is saying, what if magically Sancho stays and starts performing? A, that's never going to happen. B, I would not give him the opportunity to. Opportunities have to be deserved, man. Entitled opportunities rarely lead to good results. Opportunities that you graft for, you grind for, you work hard for, and it comes to you, goes, well, I deserve this now because of everything that's happened previously. And Sancho did do that when he joined United. He went out to Germany, and I always said that's probably the best and bravest thing he's done in his career, was moving to Germany and being one of those younger, talented English players. It was always kind of taboo to not do it in the Premier League, and he nailed it in the Bundesliga. And then he earned his move to United. And then ever since then, he's sort of, right, made it at 21 or something like that. Someone down there saying, wish I could return back in time when I was ecstatic with signing him and kick myself in the teeth. Can anybody actually kick themselves in the teeth? That's sort of like licking your elbow, isn't it? It's a curious question. Might do a live show on that one. But here saying, no, Sam, he wants to go on loan so he can walk away on a free next year and pocket. Hey, dude, you're probably right. I haven't even thought of that. Imagine that. That's definitely going to be part of his mindset, isn't it? Remember that players that leave on free transfers, they always have signing on bonuses whenever they join new clubs. Sometimes they can be substantial. What was Mbappe's signing on bonus at Real Madrid? A lot. I know Wee Man can kick himself in the head, but that's a bit different. You can't can't have Wee Man. Kneed myself in the head before. Yeah, you can knee yourself. I'm talking about toes to mouth contact. Anyway, if you can do it, send in the videos. We'll pull it up on the channel next week. When does Sancho's contract run out? But when did we sign him? It was Ole who signed him, wasn't it? Sancho transfer marked. Let's have a look. German or English? I want that in English. Contract. Well, that's a Chelsea contract. Doesn't really help. When does this contract with Manchester United? June 26th. So next summer, Sancho's contract runs out. So if he wanted to, honestly, that's a really smart comment there. I hadn't really thought of that. It could well be that Sancho's factoring that price in. And he probably wants a slice of that pie. And he also knows that, and this is the thing, he's on the biggest contract he'll ever be on in his entire life. And he's not letting go of that. It's mad how much, like, obviously I can't relate to it. None of us can really relate to it at all. And I think it's just about scaling up in life. When you get used to a certain lifestyle and you're on a certain salary, then even if you're going down to a lower salary, which is an absolute still a ton of money, it's not what it was before. So you have to, it's a change. Like going from 300 grand a week to 200 grand a week. Oh no. Oh my God. How can you possibly afford to live? But they must just get used to spending that amount of money. I don't know. Surely, well, any smart Premier League footballer would surely invest most of their money. Random segue here, but what's his name? Frankie Muniz from Malcolm in the Middle. When he was a kid on Malcolm in the Middle, all of his money got put into a trust fund, and he just had the right. His family absolutely nailed it. They put his money from that trust fund into loads of real estate in America that absolutely flew. So he's actually significantly more rich because the trust fund was spent correctly. Or do like Premier League footballers just spend all their money at the same time? I don't quite know. There was a little super chat there. Let me read this out. Rex is saying, could be wrong. Didn't get an 8 mil loan fee from Chelsea. I don't think we got any loan fee, did we? I'm pretty sure it was just wages covered. I know we got 5 mil back at the end, but I think that was considered by some to be a bit of a loan fee. Jonathan, you're asking who? Come on, man, go watch Malcolm in the Middle. I started rewatching that again, and it is still damn funny. It's on Disney. If anyone's got Disney Plus, go and watch it. Get Sancho out of my club, whatever way possible. And if that means accepting maybe 5 million less for Sancho, then that's going to have to be what we do, man. There has to be a way out of this, and that doesn't end with Sancho being a Manchester United player next season. And unfortunately, United are probably going to have to be who compromises on this, because clearly Sancho won't. And you know what I've realised with the Sancho situation here, the Maguire situation before. Like, it really doesn't matter who a club wants to sell a player to. If the player doesn't want to move, then like, the player has all the power. And it's something I didn't quite realise. I don't know why the penny never dropped, really. But players ultimately can just stop a transfer from happening. It doesn't matter how much that transfer is worth. Nothing matters if the player says, nah, I'm just going to stay here. Must be, I don't know. It's all written into the contracts and stuff. But yeah, I've realised in these last couple of years, Maguire and West Ham was another one. If a player doesn't want to move, there is sweet FA the club can do apart from pay to make it happen, which of course we didn't do with Maguire, and I very much doubt we do with Sancho directly anyway. Maybe we accept a lower fee. Jonathan, you're saying Onana will stay for that reason as well. Kieran, you're saying De Jong was the same. De Jong's a perfect example. We agreed a fee with Barca, and he was like, I don't want to move there, man. I want to stay in Barca. All right, cool. Then he stays. Onana. Yeah, this is the third goalkeeper. This is the third goalkeeper top, right? I wish United would bring out just like an all-black kit. I mean, technically, this is an all-black kit that United brought out. There was a little bit too much white going on. I prefer a round neck to a V-neck. Probably take the stripes off. I would tone down how bright the white is as well. Anyway, Stephen talking about Gyökeres to United. Yeah, it could happen. It really could happen at this point. But I'm kind of leaving the Gyökeres story until something actually moves with it. Akash saying the last I read a club blocking a transfer was Fergie and Jill blocking Heinz's move to Liverpool back in the day. I remember that. Who was the last player to transfer directly between Liverpool and United? I was randomly thinking about Paul Ince earlier. But he didn't move directly between the clubs. He moved after. A bit like Michael Owen didn't move directly from Liverpool. He moved from Real Madrid. Was it Real Madrid he moved from? I think it was. Who was the last player to go directly? It's a long old time ago, man. No, let's not bring back the away kit. That grey away kit is never going on here. Never going down there either. No chance. Yeah, Ince didn't go directly. Jonathan, you say it's 1964. It's nuts, isn't it? It's absolutely mad. Let's speak about Onana. Right. Richie saying stop talking about Osman to United. Did I mention Osman? I think I did. Maybe you're not speaking to me. Maybe speaking to the chat. Onana. Look, there's more just loose reports coming out of Italy. Alfredo Padula. I don't know when was he... Was it the Højlund story? I think it was a Højlund story. Well, he was actually quite close to the news. Must have some sort of links out in Atlanta. Maybe that's why he's coming up with this story as well. United getting linked with Atalanta's goalkeeper, Marco Konieski. 34 million. Wasn't really on our list that we did. You know who was top of our list? It was Jean Garcia. We spoke about Lemens from, I think, Royal Antwerp. We spoke about, I think, Chevalier from Lille. Didn't really speak about Konieski. It's not to say he's a bad goalkeeper. But he just wasn't on our list. 34 mil. Hey. There's just not been any interest. Kind of what we were just talking about there. Onana's not going to leave United for any club. He is at the biggest club he will ever be at, and everything past this football club is downhill in Onana's career in terms of scale and size. He will not accept any half-assed move. Even if it suits Manchester United, it won't suit him, so he won't do it. So I imagine we could find ourselves in a very similar situation with Onana. And I don't blame the club for Onana in the same way that I would with certain players. I was convinced that it was the right signing. I think the wages are pretty fair. I thought the price was pretty fair. It's a signing that should have worked out, which just didn't work out. We went and we signed an experienced Champions League final level goalkeeper, and it still didn't work out. I don't particularly. You could say that's on the club for scouting incorrectly, or fine, okay, you can blame those. But I don't know whether Onana's going to end up digging his heels in the same fashion that Sancho is, because he's got his claws stuck into the neck of Manchester United. I don't know whether Onana would go that far. Stephen, I've already spoken about the need to replace Onana. We need to do that this summer. I really, really do. Gavin, I wouldn't go as far. He was a massive mistake. I got it spectacularly wrong. I would say the Onana transfer, like of all the transfers that have failed, let's not depress each other by speaking about this for too long. But of all the transfers that have failed post Fergie's, for me, Onana is one of the most confusing. Like with Højlund, it's a 72 million youngster who's not scored that many goals. It might not work out, and it hasn't worked out. Anthony, well, you know that we've overpaid significantly for him. It's not really going to be. Oh yeah, great. There's certain ones that you're not too surprised about. But from where we went with De Gea to leaving to signing him, and he was supposed to be the way that our build-up changed. And it just never ever saw it, ever, in like 2 seasons. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. Anyway, Onana, we're getting linked with other goalkeepers. But again, nothing's really particularly happening. I don't quite know. But moving on from the depressing stuff, I'll tell you what, I think I might do a lunchtime video on this, because Lenny and Cobby are putting in the hard graft. Out in America, they're doing clearly like a proper post-season fitness regime. So it means that when they come for the first day of the preseason, Cobby and Lenny are going to be quite a few levels above all the other players around them. It will give them a big leg up. And I think in particular with Lenny, after the season that he had last season, remember the frustrations? He got his, was it metatarsal? I think it was. 3 months he missed. He didn't even make his debut under Ten Hag, did he? Don't think so. So it was a very turbulent start for Yoro. But the development that we then saw from Yoro in the last 6 months of the season was fantastic. If you compare the first performance of Lenny Yoro when he came and made his debut, and you watched him, he'd play wide centre-back, and he'd turn and he'd do a short pass, he'd turn, he'd do a short pass. He was like, don't lose the ball, just play it cool, just don't lose the ball. There you go, play it safe. And then by the end of it, Lenny was like skipping up 15 yards, breaking the lines, edge of the box, having shots. 2 very different types of performances, and all to do with confidence. Like, confidence is like the most important thing in football, I think. Anyway, I think it's worth having a conversation about that. And it's I just prefer to look ahead. It's people do like sometimes try and have a go at me for trying to throw too much hope out and being too optimistic or too positive. But it's always better to look forward with optimism than to look backwards at the crap that's happened and just moan about it. It's easier to look backwards and moan, but largely no one's actually interested in that, because why are you looking backwards, man? I don't want to talk about how crap we were last season. And this is something I'm going to speak about in the lunchtime video, but when that first whistle blows against Arsenal, every single United fan around the world is going to be sitting there going, come on, I hope it's different. Let's go. Everyone's going to be in the same position. Even if you're not now, you will be when that first whistle blows. I guarantee you that. Let me just say this one more time as well. The PO box is now open, people. After about 3 weeks of delays, the bloody PO boxes, you can have a go at Raw Mail for that. It's now open, and you can send in your stuff. Don't worry, I'm not going to forget Map Day. Never do. I've probably forgotten it once, maybe. If you want to send in your stuff to go on the community wall here, all that corkboard's going to get filled up with your stuff, your photos, your tickets, anything you want to send in, send it in. And I think what I'll probably do is maybe next Friday, it depends on how much stuff is sent, we could do a little unboxing during the live show, or if there's too many things that get sent, I might do a members-only video, and we can just do like an unboxing session together. I think that could be cool. I'm looking forward to seeing whether anybody sort of takes it up. So it's there. It's been set up. It's been paid for. I hope that people take advantage of it. And we can make that place just like a completely unique thing in YouTube. I think so anyway. Did it. Cunha hat-trick with Mbeumo 2 assists for the first game of the season. I might just spontaneously combust, I think. I think I just explode if that happened. Right, let's get the map out. Come on, peeps. Ian, the PO box is open, yeah. It is. Right. You all know what the map is. If you don't, welcome aboard. This map, 746 map points. You can only just about see them over there. For some reason, it gets cut off. All around the world. These are all the live pins that I've added during the live shows across the last few years, right? So, where are you watching from? Give me the city and give me the country, and I'll add you onto the map. Let's have a quick look. We've got Jorge watching from Laval in Canada. We don't have many from Canada, actually. Oh, Canada. Man, I used to love... I feel like I might want to watch... When's the new season of South Park coming out? I need to watch it, because it's been a good few years. I used to watch South Park properly, and I reckon until about season 10? About season 10, maybe? I haven't watched it in a long time. What else we got down here? Got Tomato. Got Tomato in the comments. Watching from Kerala in India. Welcome aboard, sir. Or madam. Not quite sure. You know, could be female Tomato. You have no idea. Let's get one more. We've got Rob C watching from Bue in Cameroon. Bue? Bua. Let's get one more. Let's get one more on the map. We've got Mandla watching from Val in South Africa. Well, fair enough. You sent a little super chat. I'll add you on. On the map, you go. Boom. That's 4 of you added onto the map. So at the last 10, we've got South Africa, Cameroon, India, Canada, Malaysia, Denmark, Australia, Norway, all around the world. Right, last minute of the show. If you want, you can fire in any question you want. I want to say a big thank you, as always, to everybody for another week here on United People's TV. I really hope the Mbeumo, here we go, comes today. I just want to get it done. At this point, I do just want to get it done. I'm totally confident it will happen before pre-season. And on the first day of pre-season, when the lads come back on the 7th, I think, of July, we're going to see Cunha and Mbeumo there. And then at that point, we're going to be like, yeah, man, cool, happy, excited. But at this point, I just want to get it done. I want to see him doing his medical, etc., etc. I think he'll be today, which probably means it won't be. Let's be totally honest. Everyone have a cracking weekend. Enjoy yourselves. It is hot AF in England right now. Get your sun cream on. Get out there. Get the barbecues on. Today, we are making short ribs in the smoker. First time I'm doing it. Looking forward to it. Not going to send you pics. I'm gonna have to nail it first, but yeah, I want to buy myself like an offset smoker and properly get into barbecue. I've always loved barbecue my whole life, and I've been waiting a long time to actually have a garden back. So I've got like an electric Ninja grill. I've got one of the knockoff green eggs, the ones from Aldi. Yeah, they're pretty damn good. I want to get an offset smoker, and then I want to start barbecuing. That's what we're planning on. It's going to be exciting. Thank you all. Have a cracking weekend. I will hopefully be here with some live shows. Lunchtime today is going to be probably a video on Euro, on Manu, and next season. We're going to have a video over the weekend, which will be a video on United's shift in transfer strategy and approach behind the scenes, the data behind it, what's actually changed, and the scouting. And I'm going to try and get my Diego Leon video recorded today so we can hopefully have that for Sunday. We'll see. All right. Take it easy, everybody. Have a fantastic weekend. And I'll see you on Monday for a live show. And fingers crossed I see you over the weekend for an extra one. Take it easy.